Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So, you guys would have seen in the stream over the last two streams, I've been leveling up this completely non-meta Firestorm Inquisitor. And you would have also seen in the B-roll that it does some awesome shit. So, I did die twice in taking A5 Cyrus, but it does kill Cyrus, and it does kill Cyrus pretty damn well. There's a few mechanics that we're essentially abusing in this build because, quite frankly, the Inquisitor is a ridiculous bloody, just a ridiculous ascendancy now since they buffed it, or reworked it, I should say. Let's not go as far as buffing. And there'll be another video because this exact same build tree, you can apply Blade Blast and get 58 million DPS. You can apply Blade Vortex and get up to 4 million DPS. And essentially you can apply any fire spell into this build using the stuff that we'll talk about, and you can get stupid amounts of DPS really easily, and dumb amounts of tankability, and just, yeah, it's just insane. Consecrated Ground is the most broken mechanic in the game. But anyway, so What are we doing? What are we playing? Alright, well, predominantly, because just out of personal preference, I've been wanting to play Firestorm for a long time since they reworked it. I think it was like 2 leagues ago, because it's like a huge fuck-off flame ball that comes out of the sky and just absolutely destroys everything, and there's no audio there because I've cranked it right down. So let's crank that bad boy up. So basically we have this huge fuck-off fireball coming out of the sky, or in this case 3, that basically hit the ground, and as you will see in the B-roll, just implode enemies. And on top of that, we're running Armageddon brand to basically proc some further damage and get us going. But all of this is anchored on one particular item, and you can there's a few unique items I use in this build. But I think if you look at the 95 to 100 path of buildings right now, there's like 3 other players that are playing something similar to this, but the DPS in mine is much higher than theirs. Whatever they're doing, they've just got good sustainability because this build is really easy to level up with. But anyway, so how do we achieve this? Let's have a look at the gear. So, really simple stuff. First of all, chests, I've just got a 6-link chest piece. This is going to be converted into an explodey chest. I just haven't really been focusing on currency farming. I've been leveling up, you know, these crazy off-kilter toons to take down and kill bosses, and mainly get the Cyrus and play completely abnormal skills because this league lets us do that. So 6-link chest, all blue, that's all you need. We'll talk about the gem links next. Rings, all resist, any other bridge, you know, anything else to bridge the difference. Eventually I'm going to get a flammability ring, or Assassin's Mark, or probably a flammability ring, to be honest with you, because flammability makes more sense, considering fire character. Alright, so we're past that. Belt, I got this cool synthesized belt that gave me more strength. Now this is a strength stacking Inquisitor as well, though not to a crazy level. You know, we're going to get 360 strength, and that is because we're going to use the Repentance Gloves, which is used in almost no other builds except this one, because we're going to get Iron Will out of these gloves, which essentially converts our strength from buffing up physical damage to buffing up our spell damage. So the more strength we stack, and we really lucked out with this belt, the more spell damage we're going to do, and that's why this is going to do way more damage. And then boots, you know, just fill the gap. 30% movement speed if you can get it, bare minimum, any resistances you need, life, usual stuff with boots, nothing too crazy. Now, the 3 key unique items, and we'll talk about, I guess, gems, jewels when we get to the tree, because there's a few, there's about 3 unique jewels, but nothing as crazy as Watcher's Eyes in this build. First of all, we want Zoph's Blood, and the reason why we want Zoph's Blood is the covering enemies in Ash does a huge amount of damage. Avatar of Fire is converting physical damage. It's got penetration, fire resist, 10% to life, strength, and strength buffs up our, I'll just go into D&D mode. Strength is going to synergize with our Repentance Gloves and buff up our spell damage from the amount of strength that we get. And then I've also anointed this with Divine Judgment, which gives another 50% increased damage to elemental damage. So just to absolutely make this a fuck off crazy item. And that's a really easy anoint too. It's not, you don't need any gold oils or silver oils for that one. Helmet, we're running a Crown of the Inward Eye that drops off Cyrus at pretty much every difficulty level. The reason why it's nice and cheap, I got a good roll on this one, and it's just an overall really, really good piece of kit, considering it buffs up your life, your ES, and your mana, and those are three big things that we need in this build because we're a meat bag that just walks around throwing fireballs. And the last key item is the Martyr of Innocence. Now, a long time ago, I wanted to use this staff. It has never been a good staff up until this league, because now we can have Battle Mage on the staff, which means we're already playing an Inquisitor, and the Inquisitor otherwise would be able to get Battle Mage, and Battle Mage gives you, I think it's a buff up to like 70% or something like that for spell damage, cast speed, all that sort of shit that affects spells. So not only do you get dumb amounts of block with this staff, you get level 15 Vengeance, which procs when you block, and we'll talk about the block mechanics and defensive layering next. You get crazy amounts of DPS off of the staff. You get immunity to freeze and chill if you've been ignited, and you know, there's ways to do that, but we're not focusing on that. You get 15% fire resistance penetration on enemies if you've blocked recently, so it's beneficial in getting hit. And then you get Battle Mage, which basically turns this from a 4 key ascendancy point build into a 5 key ascendancy point build, which is, let's be honest, pretty fucking amazing, which is why this build works quite well and works with pretty much every damn fire spell in the game, including all blade spells. So what did I do for the tree at this stage? So and flasks, you know, we're running Quicksilver, Diamond Flask, Rumi's Concoction, a Sulphur Flask, because this also gives us Consecrated Ground, and Consecrated Ground, as you can see, I have Perpetual Consecrated Ground. Alright, so let's have a look at the tree. So tree's a little bizarre with this one. It goes all over the shop, and there's a few things going on here, but I'll explain my way through. So basically, we'll talk about the Ascendancy next. Basically, you know, you'll make it through, you'll pick up these mana and life regeneration nodes, Discipline and Training, Light of the Divinity, Holy Dominion, Amplify. We're going to be hitting as many AoE nodes as we possibly can, because we want to get that huge, like, AoE smash and shit into the ground sort of thing going on. Then we're going to get, you know, Quick Recovery just to give us that regeneration. You'll come up, get Firewalker, come up, get Deep Wisdom into Arcane Will. This is going to give us more sustain for mana, because mana is not so much of a problem, but it is a bit of a balancing act in this build. I got to about level 88 now, where it's not a problem at all. You can cast to your heart's content. You've got tons of regen and a big, you know, 2,000 plus mana pool. So, you know, with a residual of 449, which is plenty to cast a spell that it's only 107. And this is without crafting reduction to mana crafts onto your rings, or getting the chest piece that does that. So one of the first key things that we're going to see here is I'm running Glorious Vanity, which you need the Doriani roll on this one. And this drops from Legion encounters. And what this gives us is Corrupted Soul. So basically 50% of non-chaos damage will bypass an energy shield, but that the advantage of having 20% of maximum life given to you as extra energy shield, which is essentially how we get to the stage where we have, you know, 2,371 ES and 4,518 HP at level 88. So, you know, we're pushing on, you know, almost 7,000 EHP, and we're not even close to allocating, you know, another 12 nodes. So we're doing quite well in that department. And then you'll come down, you'll pick up Blood Siphon, you'll pick up Coordination, Assassination. We're going to focus on crit, because we get to an effective crit of, I think, about 90%, 90.39% on the tree. So then you'll come back up, you'll pick up these area of effect nodes here. You want to move straight up into this cluster up here and pick up one of these Intuitive Leap Gems, and these are only 25 chaos. so nice and cheap. If you want to know how much these are 60 chaos. So far this build is dirt cheap. So you're going to get Intuitive Leap. This is going to let us allocate all of these nodes in here without any of the disadvantages. So we're going to get Discord Artisan, which is going to buff up our Herald of Ash, and I'll talk about Germs next, so we'll get into that. Mystic Bulwark, that's going to give us increased block, more mana, that's going to give us spell damage and mana regeneration based on block. Sorry. And then we're going to get Blast Radius. It's going to give us AoE damage. It's going to give us AoE effects. It's going to make our fireballs coming out of the sky even more crazy levels of fuck off. And then we're going to get Enigmatic Defense. That's going to increase our block again. That's going to give us the chance to get Unholy Might. And that's going to increase our spell damage while using staves. So then you'll come to the left, you'll pick up Cruel Preparations and Deep Thoughts. It's just going to push mana up. That's going to and give you Intelligence, which is something that I actually had to get this node to basically balance that out. And it will give you more mana regeneration, more HP, more all elemental resist, which is all good for this build. So then we'll come back up to the center point node here. And I should note that the POB will be in the description as well, so it'll all be there for you. Now, I've went up, I've picked up Enigmatic Reach and also Serpent Stance. This is just maxing out as much damage, area of effect and everything as we possibly can with staves. We're going to get Arcane Potency, and you'll note you don't need to take Avatar of Fire at this stage because that's built into your necklace, so, or your amulet. So you know you're already covering off or ticking off on that point. So then you'll come down, pick up Purity of Flesh. I've picked up Sovereignty, and this is just to alleviate some of the pressure of trying to reduce the cost of mana in the build. Now this might seem like a couple of points or 1 point that's misallocated here. You could put it somewhere else if the mana reduction doesn't bother you. In my case, I wanted the mana reduction and to Reservation, which just made it easier to play. The next thing, you'll pick up Arcane Capacitor. This is going to give you Arcane Surge on kill, and that's going to buff up your damage by like 19 to 20%, or 18 to 20%, and cast speed and all that sort of jazz, and mana regen again. Then we'll come down, and we've got a jewel called the Blue Nightmare, which unfortunately is 1x. And the reason why we need that is because this actually gives us the ability to give us an extra buff on Holy Dominion that gives us 12% chance to gain a power charge on kill, which means if you're casting, not only do you generate power charges from blocking in this build, but you also generate power charges from actually killing enemies as well. There's a probability to do that. And then obviously there's a little bit of conversion to chaos damage, but essentially the generation of power charges is where we're at here. The other thing is this also increases your spell block, I believe, as well. Yeah, something on the lines of that. Anyway, it's quite a good jewel in this build. A lot of trees similar to this are running it, and for good reason. Alright, so we come down, we get Devotion. We're going to get Counterweight because we want to max out Stave Crit, and also we're going to get more block chance, and as you can see, Whirling Barrier will give you 20% to gain a power charge when you block, and we're going to be getting hit, and we're going to be blocking a lot. Then you'll come all the way down, and we're just going to smash in all these nodes down here. You're going to pick up Bloodless, and you're going to pick up Call to Arms. Now potentially, if you're running into issues in getting strength into your build, then you're going to go Utmost Might, because I'm very mindful that not everyone's going to get a 12% increased strength belt with a strength roll, etc, etc. So where you can't get strength, go Utmost Might. That's going to give you enough strength to get up to your cap, so you can use your Repentance Gloves, and then you're going to buff up your spell damage based on that. Ooh, I need to re-roll that. It's actually pretty good. That's a pretty crap roll right now. It's 29% reduced spell damage. So that's pretty much it for the tree. Just a really brief top-down look at that. That'll be in the POB. That POB will be in the description, and if you've got any questions about it, hit me up. It's a bit of a different way to go about building an Inquisitor, but strength stacking works quite well. So, gem links, you're going to use Firestorm. I picked up nobody uses Firestorm, that's why this is so cool. So for like 5 chaos, I got a 23% corrupted level 21 Firestorm, which is fantastic. You're going to get elemental focus. You're going to get energy leech support. That's going to give you crazy amounts of leech, because you're going to hit for like 1.8 million DPS on this build, and you'll see that in the POB. It's pretty damn crazy. You're going to get Unleash, and this is going to let you throw 3 fireballs at once from the sky, and that's just going to give you crazy amounts more DPS. Controlled Destruction, just for the more spell damage, and interestingly enough, Intensify. A lot of people tend to run, I think it's Concentrated Effect. I found Intensify better, and the reason why Intensify is better is because the initial intensity of it is released in a way that you get more AoE. As you cast up to an intensity of 3, then that gives you less area of effect, but more area damage. So then you get 23% area damage per intensity. And if you hit the max of 3, you're going to get, 69% area damage in the case of this level 21 gem per level of intensity. Which means when you're bossing, basically you're just going to be, the more you cast on the boss, the more damage you're going to do, and then you're just going to start chunking their health, which is what you can see in the B-roll. It just gets to a stage where it rips enemies apart. So, in your boots, you're going to run Assassin's Mark, Frost Shield, Immortal Call, and cast some damage taken. And I'm using level 10 because you take so much damage, and there's such a huge pool to take damage from. It just helps having a higher level cast some damage taken set up to mitigate that. In your helm, you're going to run Righteous Fire, Clarity, Zealotry, and Vitality. And if you can get to level 20 Vitality, that's where you want to be, so you can try to get close to 1,000 health regeneration per second. And obviously, when you have your Enduring Cry pop when you walk around, you're going to get 2,600, which is pretty damn good. So in the gloves, you're going to run the Enduring Cry setup, so you can link that to your move button. You're going to run Herald of Ash, because obviously we want Herald of Ash, we're a fire build. We're going to run Flame Dash, and we're going to run Second Wind, and that's basically so your Enduring Cry resets and recharges and pops a lot more frequently. And lastly, what you'll need in your staff, because this runs 2 6 links, is you're going to run Armageddon Brand, Fire Penetration, Swift Brand, Concentrated Effect, and Combustion. When I get to higher level, when I get to a 6 link on this, there's the potential to run Inspiration Charges. So you pop this on a boss, get Inspiration Charges, that's going to increase your crit, that's going to increase your damage further, and that's going to synergize with the Inquisitor further. Alternatively, you could also run another Energy Leech support node or a Life Leech support node. This alone does a crazy amount of damage on bosses, and because we're applying a debuff to the boss and igniting the boss, they're going to take further damage from your Firestorm attack. So Armageddon Brand and Firestorm sort of synergize. Now, there's a lot of other builds similar to this, or ones that I guess went down the same pathing, that have taken Runebinder. I don't think you need Runebinder. I just don't think it's that beneficial, but if you want to do that, you can do that as well. I may take that depending on how I feel about it, just to buff up bossing damage. That's also an option. Now ascendancy wise, this is where the cool stuff comes in, when I can get it up. So you're going to go Righteous Providence first, and it's going to give you 50 strength and intelligence, and it's going to buff up your critical strike chance, so it's 1% per whatever the lower of the 2 is. In this case, the lower of the 2 is intelligence, so it's 1% per point of strength and or intelligence. So it's where you get a crazy amount of crit chance, and it's in the vicinity of offense. Crit chance 42% unbuffed. That's pretty damn good. And then you're going to go to Inevitable Judgment, and this is where the real power spike comes in with the Inquisitor. So critical strikes ignore monster elemental resistances. Non-crit strikes penetrate 10 elemental resist, which means when you crit, their resistances mean nothing to you. You basically hit them full force as though they are 0 on everything. And that's what makes this incredibly powerful, and just one of the best bloody ascendancies in the game. So next you're going to get Sanctuary, which means your consecrated ground you create applies 15% increased damage taken to enemies. And when you're stationary, you're always going to have consecrated ground. That's also going to buff up your life. Regeneration, that is. And then that feeds into Pious Path, which means you and allies generate life and energy shield while you're on consecrated ground. And while you're on consecrated ground and standing still, you're immune to ailments like freeze and things like that. So when you open a chest and you get that freeze lock thing, you don't get that in this build, and you don't need to build ailment reduction for that reason. Also, the effects of consecrated ground will linger for 4 seconds, which means it gives you time to move around on the consecrated ground. That makes it even more powerful. Anyway, that's pretty much the build. I'm having a lot of fun with it, as you can see in stream. It's pretty hilarious killing bosses with Firestorm, considering nobody plays Firestorm. All the gear on this, except for the Blue Nightmare, is pretty much dirt cheap. If we look at Martyr of Innocence, 22 Chaos, Helm, 3 Chaos, chest, I think I paid an X for the chest. You know, boots, what's that, 15 Chaos, 1 Chaos Gauntlets, belt 20 Chaos, and 50 Chaos for the amulet. So, you know, you can piece this together with not very much investment, minimal amounts of time. But yeah, if this helps you get you started, I'm going to do a full build guide of this. I wanted to do a build update to show people what I've been working on in the few little bits of spare time that I've got at the moment. But yeah, if this video helps you find something cool to play, then like and sub. Now you can use this tree with a bit of dex refitting for Blade Blast, Blade Vortex. Give it a shot, work around it. You probably get ball lightning in this. It doesn't really matter what you do with this tree. It's more so about the staff that makes this powerful. Potentially you could do a conversion from lightning to fire damage with ball lightning and do crazy amounts of DPS with the Martyr of Innocence. But I would say that this is one of the best staffs in the game. After playing this, I don't know how I'm going to go back to other builds. But anyway, until next time, bye.